Hi, agripreneurs. Good morning to you. I'm back on your screens this beautiful Friday morning. And last week, we began exploring Nigeria's agricultural economy and the levers of transformation. Now, today, we also will be talking about agricultural activities, but our focus will be shifted to a sector that powers plates and livelihoods, which is poultry farming. But before we go on, my name is Martha Alu, and this is the Green Line, where agriculture meets innovation and Nigeria takes the lead. We, through the Green Line, is trying to explore some of the agricultural activities here in Nigeria. How can we make them better or better? What were they before? What was the activity like before? And what is it right now? This is the Green Line, and I will be right back. From the soil beneath our feet to the tables across the world, agriculture is the heartbeat of Nigeria's future. Yet challenges persist: limited finance, outdated methods, policy gaps, and untapped opportunities. The Green Line is here to change that. A groundbreaking weekly television feature that connects policy with practice, farmers with markets, and innovation with impact. We dig deep into the full agricultural value chain, from land preparation to mechanization, financing, food preservation, exports, and beyond. The Green Line isn't just a show, it's a national development platform. Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. only on Rapid TV, Star Times Channel 176, and online at www.rbnradiotv.com. We will be exploring the situation of the market, the challenges that are faced by people over there, the prices of goods, the crops, and the overall chain line between farming and distribution. And yes, we had a lot of words from the people on the street, from different crops, different farm produce. And truthfully, what we were able to ascertain from that assignment or that objective was to find out that a lot of food prices are gradually reducing. Now, the truth is, we try to sample the prices from different markets, trying to find out what the solution or what the problem is before we even go out to find out what the solution is. And we found out that the most part of the price increase that is experienced in the marketplace is from retailers. And now, the retailers are not the bad guys in the market. The retailers buy from these large markets, add the cost of their transportation from this market, and take it to their various stores or their various shops or markets or how they sell it. And then the price of those goods and services tend to increase higher than what was obtainable at the local market. Let's take a look at what some of them had to say.
My name is Mohamed Goni. I am dealer of onions. We bring onions from Zaria, and then we bring onions from Bauchi and Kano. We get old one, we get new one.
There's old and new onions. What's the difference?
The difference, the one we have right now, like this kind on, we are called this one, new one.
Yeah, sure.
And then this one, old one.
Okay, so can we remove one?
Yeah, can you remove?
Okay.
Yeah. You see the difference.
Sure, what's the difference? Dry. Okay, this one is dry.
This one don't dry.
This
one
is fresh.
Never dry like this one. Okay. That one are rainy season onions.
Okay.
Understand? This one old onions.
This one is old onions.
Old one, yeah.
This one is new onions.
This one new
Which
onions.
one is sweeter?
But this one.
The old
if
one.
If person won't keep one for your house, it's long time. Use this one.
Okay.
Other won't do wedding. Now you go buy this one. Now be the difference.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
What of this white one? Bring
that
this white one.
Onions.
Let me see.
That white onions, some do medicine for this one. Okay. Some use them for salad. Okay. Our foreign people from another country to come to our country, China and other people like that white. Like this kind nine they are like. Person they use our customers to shop rice and other place. Amingo. Ebano supermarket, Amingo supermarket, shop rice. Now them like this kind one. Now them come buy.
Okay. So, how much are you selling one bag of this?
Now we are selling one bag of new one, 50,000. Old one, 90,000, 95,000.
Why?
Because that odd one, like how I tell you, the odd one,
you can store
you don't storage them. Kuma that one, it go last, not go do anything. This one, it go keep them. Quick spoil. Now, the difference between this one and that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, do they use to spoil this one? How do you use to preserve this one?
This one, if one preserve from now to like 2 months, 3 months, if we fall am for ground, you go select anyone the one you begin to spoil. Understand? Find like basket, tomatoes basket, big basket tomatoes. You go arrange them for inside one by one. You go keep them for where rain no touch them. Understand? But if reach below them, onions no go do anything, even this one. If you dey like this kind sack, because na new one, go spoil. You go reach like inside bag like this from now to like 1 week, 10 days, no go do anything because that one na hot onions.
So where do you used to bring it from?
The onions we bring from Kano, Sokoto, but now the place we bring Kano and Zaria, Kaduna State, some Bauchi place. Now for then I will bring. Yeah.
Okay, so before and now,
Yeah.
which one is more expensive then or now?
But now onions, the price they cheap well. But now time for the rainy season onions. That is why the price don't come down. Just 2 months ago, we are selling one bag of onions, 150, 160. But now the price don't come down because now rainy season onions, they're plenty. If full for anywhere, you go look at like this. Even for your camera, you go look at like this. All new onions. Even the one we put up for this basket is new onions. That is why. But now when the time for the new rainy season onions, the price they're cheap.
All right, thank you very much.
Well done.
We went to different stores, from pepper to tomatoes to different shops, to find out the cost of these things. And one thing we were able to understand from that assignment was the fact that these marketers experience one major challenge. Regardless of the fact that these crops have significantly reduced. For instance, onion. A bag of onion would sell for as much as 150,000. Now, seeing the season we're in, the fresh onions will sell a bag for 80,000. Now, there is a significant reduction in the price of this particular commodity, but still, the marketers experienced some level of challenges, and the major one they were able to recount was that of transportation. The cost of transporting those goods from wherever they get it, say Benue, Niger, from Kano, from Sokoto, and different parts of Nigeria into the marketplace. Like I said, it's an interesting assignment and we look forward to doing it every other time. Now, for today's conversation, like we stated from the start of the program, we're talking about poultry farming here in Nigeria. And Nigeria is home to over 180 million birds, the largest poultry population in Africa. Smallholders supply nearly 85% of this, making poultry a lifeline for families and the economy. Yet, the sector still struggles. And one would wonder why, with such great numbers, we still struggle in the poultry sector. Feed costs eat up to 70% of production expenses. Imports still flood our markets. And farmers battle recurrent disease and poor access to finance. So the big question is, how do we turn these challenges into opportunity? Can Nigeria's poultry industry feed itself and compete globally? That is the conversation we are having today on the Green Line. And we definitely have an expert who will be joining us today in the person of Mr. Michael Wejinya. Hi, Mr. Michael. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Hi, everyone.
Very well, thank you. It's good to have you join us on the program today.
Thank you so much. Same here.
All right. Mr. Michael, we're asking, what is poultry farming? Let's start with the basics because, of course, the people need to understand what poultry farming is, and then we break it down into some of the other intricate parts of farming.
Okay, so poultry farming is more of a science, and it's a science that, to layman's understanding, it does the management of birds, domestic or farm birds, not just domestic birds. So it's the management of domestic birds that stays around you, but not just restricted to domestic, that birds that can stay around your house, but birds that can be reared in the farm. So it's the production and management of farm birds. For example, we have the chicken, we have the duck, we have the guinea fowl, we have the geese, lots of many birds but somehow we are more conversant with chicken here. So when you mentioned the first people mind is chicken, but the production don't get to the market. So it has to do with marketing and also sales. So from the point where you get the birds at maybe day old to the point where you sell the birds, that's poultry production.
Okay.
That's about poultry.
How would you describe poultry farming here in Nigeria? Because I know a lot of people, though not professionally into it, they'll buy birds, say 5, say 10 of those birds, and start to rear within the home front. But let's talk about it on a business basis. How would you describe poultry farming here in Nigeria?
Okay, poultry farming, it's an interesting sector. It's a profitable sector in other sector compared to some other sector like the crop sector, the larger animal sector, the rest of them. But poultry farming is something that is easy for anyone to start. So, it's for the common man, and it's also for the wealthy man. All class of people are permitted.
Okay.
From poultry farming. So poultry farming in Nigeria, somehow it's not really balanced. Like if you get to the West, you see that they are doing it more at a large scale. So they do it better than lots of other states. If you get to the East and to the southern part of Nigeria, they are still struggling with the poultry sector, but I think the Western people are really getting it right. The northern people, the northern part of Nigeria, they are doing very well, but they are still growing. We have some major farms over there in the north, so it's a growing sector which needs lots of attention. And when I listened to you, you mentioned about feed production being 70%, controlling about 70% of the total cost of production of poultry. So, when we are not in total control of our cost of production, it becomes a problem. So poultry production needs to start, individuals need to start looking out for some sensitive things. And one of the things that they must look out for is how to cut and reduce cost of production. That's one major challenge we are having here in Nigeria. I always tell people you must find a way to reduce cost in your production. The big farmers, most of them get to hatchery. You see the cost of, let's say, it's 1,000 plus as they would. So if you have to make a production, you should be producing with less than 500 naira if that's your own farm. So if you have a hatchery, even if it's a mini hatchery, you've reduced cost of production by a large extent. So if you have a good knowledge on animal nutrition, you can produce your own feed. You have also used, rather than using 70% in your production, that 70% can be reduced to, let's say, 50%. So you can easily crash the price of birds because your cost of production is low. But it's a challenge for starters, young farmers. It's a challenge because most of them might not be able to reduce the cost. They might not be able to get the machine, hatchery, or any incubator to start reducing the cost of hatching. They might not be able to get these feed materials. For example, if I choose to say, I have 200 birds or 500 birds, I want to start producing feed. It's a challenge. Why? Because if I go to buy from the shop, I will still buy the corn expensive since I'm not buying at large quantity. So I will buy the corn, the soya bean, I'll buy the granite cake, I'll buy the oil and the rest of them, the things we use for feed production. It will be expensive. So the big farmers have a lot of opportunity, but the small farmers also have opportunity in doing this. And that's the reason I would suggest and advise the government to start looking into proper research. Like while in school, I studied animal science. They would tell us to study how we can cut costs with other sources of feed materials, drug, and the rest of them. So we use things like scent leaf, we use things like bitter leaf, we use things like cassava, processed cassava, to reduce cost of producing feed. So, but when we leave the school, because the system makes us to just prepare to pass an exam. They don't prepare us to solve problems, So we are not intentional. Like we make research. I made a research, and my research was on how to reduce the cost of feed production using sea shells. So I got about seashells, 4 seashells, and I used it as a replacement for calcium and for calcium as limestone. So we have a lot of seashells that cause pollution around the riverine area in Rivers State. So I chose to use that as a research. Now, when you are done with this thing, we find out that the cost of using seashell is cheaper, is more accessible because we don't have limestone in Rivers State, but we have lots of periwinkle shell, clam shell, oyster shell, and the rest of them, even causing pollution. But when you're done with this research, you don't have a lot of funding opportunity, access to grants and the rest of them to be able to bring these ideas into life. So I think from the educational aspect, they have a lot of work to do to be able to reduce the cost of these different materials, which will in turn reduce the cost of production of feed across the country. So we look out for the south, where we have the river and river materials from the riverine area, like the seashell, like I mentioned, and other things, for calcium or phosphorus. We can focus on investing in research that will help us get replacement for those things that we import. Then we get into the north. The northern people and some part of the south, they have things like limestone. We invest in getting limestone as a source of calcium. We look out for different geographical locations and what they have more abundantly, and we invest in making sure that these things come into life. They have been researching for years how we can use cassava, which is a more accessible source of energy for feed production. But till date, we are still struggling to bring that into the commercial use. Why is it difficult? Because there are very little support in bringing research into life. I think research is one of the things we must be looking out for in growing our poultry industry in Nigeria.
Why is poultry farming such a strategic subsector in agriculture?
Okay, poultry. First, the most important benefit of poultry is protein.
Okay.
We are still struggling to meet the protein need of Nigerians' population. Okay. We have a growing population and we need poultry, especially from animal protein. Poultry is about the easiest means of accessing this source of protein. So let's take, for example, if you choose to raise cattle, you will need some years before the cattle will get to maturity. If you choose to raise goats and sheep, it will take some years before they get to maturity. The same thing with pig. For the poultry, within 5 weeks, you can get your broilers into the market.
Okay.
Don't take too much space to be able to achieve this. So you can have your cage system and you'll be raising about 150, 200 within a very small space of time. So it's yes. So you have if you want to rear goats, you start looking out for how you can control the movement of these goats, how you can start sourcing for the grains that they will consume, or you choose to say, I want to plant. And you know what it means to have semi-intensive farming, where you have to fence the place, get the grass and the rest of them. It's not the same for poultry. Poultry is something that is easy to rear, and also you can start as little as you can.
And it has a quick turnover. Let's add that one, because that's why most people would like to do it. In 5 weeks, important. I mean, you have birds, and in 5 weeks, they are all grown. You are cashing out almost immediately.
You know, the same thing for the layers. Let's not just look at the broiler aspect. The layers too. The moment they get to 16 to 20 weeks, they start laying, and they will lay for about 1 and 6 months to 2 years. You know,
Wow,
1 year, 6
2
months,
years.
2 years, they will
Okay.
keep producing.
Okay.
Yes. If you manage them properly. So if you do that, you see that you'll be having daily, not just weekly turnover. And at the end of the day, when you are selling your spent layers, which we call old layers, when they are done laying,
Yeah.
you must have made your profits, your capital ready. So you're just making a quick box. So most of the times when you sell your spent or old layer, you're getting 100% of what you invested in the business while you have been making profits from the daily egg sales. And like people who do point of lay, I was calculating something for someone. I set up a farm for a friend, and I told him we bought this for, let's say, the point of lay for 7,000. And while we were selling it, after it must have laid for 1 year, 6 a month, we still sold for 7,000 plus.
That's
At the
over
final stage. So
over the actual price that it was purchased for.
Yes. So we got profit from the production process and also from the final sales. So it's like a win-win. Though we still need, so we have some challenges, management challenges, which we might talk about.
All right, which is where we are headed, where we are headed right now. Let's talk about some of the challenges that are faced in poultry farming, because I understand that if you don't have the requisite knowledge, which I appreciate the fact that you made mention of the fact that a lot of funding does not go into the research of this, which means not many people have the requisite knowledge to run a poultry farm. So because of this gap in knowledge that people have, especially when it comes to poultry farming, so many people are at loss of what to do when the birds get sick. We see that a lot of these birds get sick. Most of these birds get sick. And when they get sick, they die. So somebody buys 50 birds and is hoping to sell, give or take, 45 of those birds. But in some instances, they have less than 30 of those birds to sell out, especially because the birds get sick, they don't know the requisite knowledge, or they don't have the requisite knowledge or medicines to feed these birds. So it takes us to reach, what are the major challenges that are involved in poultry farming, and how can one mitigate these challenges?
Okay, so I still have to go back to the academic area of poultry production, which is very important. I'm emphasizing it because I came out from that system. Like I said, I'm a graduate animal scientist.
Okay.
You know, so the knowledge, the practical aspect, I think is not. I'm sure it's not well emphasized.
Okay.
So you see somebody studying animal science, he goes through 5 years in the university, and he can count the number of times he got into a farm to see what's happening.
Okay.
Apart from when he's doing his final project, or maybe 400 level, when he goes for his CIMIS, his IT.
Okay.
You know, so the system don't really encourage practical. So it's theory. When they get into the field, they start seeing different problems from what is on paper. You understand?
Okay.
Now, we are supposed to we're supposed to emphasize on practical. Why? Because most of these lecturers, they don't even have a farm. Sorry for saying this. I have lots of them that are bosses and people I look up to. Yeah, but I have to say this. That's a fact. Most of them are not practicing. They are not consciously practicing. So they are just repeating what has happened over and over. The academic aspect needs to be emphasized. The lecturers, most of them are not practicing enough to be able to raise people to practice. They can raise you to pass exams. Okay. They can prepare you for research, but they are not well prepared. So I made an emphasis on once we had a challenge where we used to give Newcastle vaccine.
The global market. What does it all mean for you? From stock market insights to global financial news you need to know. From Wall Street to the main street and of course the marketplace.
Get the answers you need every week on Businessless with me, Faith Dafford Joseph, as I bring into focus the stories, strategies, and shifts shaping our economy. No angle is missed as I talk about the business, the people, patterns, and possibilities behind them. Welcome to the Business Lens.
Rapid TV, rooted in truth, driven by impact.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. It's still the Green Line right here on Rapid TV, and my name is Martha Alu. And yes, I have been hanging out with an agro expert, Mr. Michael Nwage. Thank you so much for joining us. Did I get his name correctly?
Wejinya Michael.
Oh,
Michael Wejinya.
We have Michael Wejinya. Apologies for that blunder in that name, but thank you so much for joining us here. Yes, we were actually trying to spotlight the problems, and from what I understand you saying before we went on that break, most of the lecturers who actually teach in these schools teach to pass exams, and you apologize, but those are facts. You know, they don't teach to help you practicalize what you are being taught in the classrooms. Let's have you continue on that thought.
Okay, so there is a
Mr. Michael Nwage, do we still have you on the line?
an emphasis, or I emphasize.
The network seemed to be a
Can you see
bit shaky. Yeah,
Okay.
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right, please go on with your thoughts. All right.
Oh,
We have a bit of a glitch with the network in there. But yes, we're talking about agricultural practices, and not just in the agricultural field, in lots of other fields, right, where people are giving theoretical knowledge and not practical knowledge, you know, on the things that they're supposed to be doing. And for agriculture, it's one that you cannot escape teaching a person practically, because some of these activities that go on in the farm is where the actual knowledge happens, or where the actual transfer of knowledge happens. And we have Mr. Michael Nwage, who is supposed to be on the line with us right now. Do we have you, Mr. Michael?
okay. So the emphasis is the lecturers are, let's say, they were trained for theory part of the course.
Okay.
Confirm if you can hear me too.
I can hear you. Please, can we have Mr. Michael
so-
on the screen? Very good. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, so they were trained without having having a little of practical experience.
Okay.
So the challenge we're having now is they are now using their theory to pass into the next generation without, because you can't give what you don't have. I am not against them, but I am of the opinion that we should have people who are practically inclined to start teaching the practical aspects. When they get into the field, let the people who understand practical teach practical.
Okay.
When they get into the class, yes, let the lecturers that understand the theory, because you still understand the science, you still need the science part of poetry. Poetry is a science, so you need it. But for you to be able to learn this practice, most of the time, the people who know the things, they don't actually know the terminologies. They don't know the jargons to explain the solution to this.
Okay.
But they can easily tell you, for your birds not to die, do this, do that. Like I learned from someone who, it was difficult for him to speak proper English. So what happened during our time was, when I asked him a question, he would just use any way to explain to me, because he taught me how to manage birds to reduce mortality.
Okay.
By normally mortality is supposed to be 5%. That's the mortality rate for birds. Anything more than 5%, assume that your production is poor. So he told me he raised 1,000 birds, just losing one, which was less than 1%. So like, how did you manage that? So I had to tell him I want to work with him. He was like, my Oga. I said, forget my Oga. I need to learn what you're doing. So I started working with him. So I learned that as much as perfume, Vaseline, or cream, he don't rub those things, because he noticed that they are sensitive to the birds.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's so sensitive about managing these birds, what they perceive, what they eat, the litter, making sure that the litter, what we call sawdust, don't get wet. Now, these things are taught, but when it's not being practiced enough, they will not really understand. Yes. When we learned in class, it will tell us avoid wet sawdust. But But when you get into the field, you don't really understand why are they saying this. But when you now see somebody in the field who can manage beds, and you see that the place is dry, you see another person's farm is smelling and messy. So you will now understand the difference between a wet sawdust, a wet litter, and a dry litter, and how it affects the health of the beds. So we need to start emphasizing on the practical aspect of this. And in the field, you will find out that most of the things that we are taught in class, we are taught, let's say, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The bacteria that we are trying to fight, they have already outgrown the drugs we are giving to them 5 years ago. So when you keep giving them, the system has already been immune to that particular, the bacteria, they have already grown immunity over the drug you are using. The people in the field have already changed drugs. I had a problem when I had one of my lecturers sent me to a vet shop to get a particular drug, and the vet doctor was like, no, this was about 2 years ago or 5 years ago, we stopped using this drug. This is the best thing to use, you know. And he happens to be a doctor in the field, but unfortunately, he was not up to date on that solution. So practicing is very important, because the animal scientists, the veterinary doctors, will be the ones to get into the field to train other people. So when they are not practically sound, they will just be speaking theory and birds will be dying.
Okay.
So these are the things that needs to be emphasized. We need to train the people that are supposed to train the other people. To train, yes. We need to train the trainers properly.
Train the trainers. From what I understand, is the knowledge gap is one of the major challenges that is faced in poultry farming, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now let me ask you, how do we position Nigeria to compete in the poultry value chain under AFCFTA?
How do we position Nigeria to compete?
Yes.
Okay. Very important. First, we are still backward in poultry production because we have not been able to produce enough birds that we can eat.
Okay.
So it's like we are now in competition with production companies.
Okay.
Let's take, for example, if you produce a corn, the first target is to meet the hunger needs and the protein, nutrient needs of humans. But when you have not produced enough that can satisfy the need of humans, it's now difficult to now start giving to animals, because animals now start competing with humans. Now, when you have not been able to produce enough to give humans and animals, it will be difficult to now start using it to produce other things. So we must intentionally find a way to increase our production and reduce the production cost, so the common man will be able to produce as well.
Okay.
So when lots of people produce, it makes distribution. You talked about transportation earlier, and one of the challenge of transportation is because these birds, most of the places that is being produced at mega large quantity, they are far from the points where they are being distributed. So we hear that a bird sells for this particular price around this region, and this region is selling for this other price. For example, if you go to Ibadan, the cost of birds around the Ibadan region is different from the cost of birds in Port Harcourt, because they produce almost everything. They have reduced the cost of production. The moment it crossed to Port Harcourt, we are now buying feed, we are now buying charcoal, we are buying, including sawdust. Now we buy sawdust. So everything increases because everything comes in with extra cost, which is being gotten from transportation. So we must make sure first that this production cuts across different regions: the north, the east, the south, and the west, which they're already doing very well in it. So when we do this, we're able to produce enough for humans, then we'll be able to produce enough to now start recycling. You know, there's something called poultry meal. That's what they use for producing feed, animal feed. So you are taking a poultry and you are processing it. That is the chicken. You are processing it to be able to produce feed for animals to consume. You are taking the feather which is called feather meal. You are processing it to be able to produce feathers for the animal to consume. So you are recycling it. But over here, most of these things are not being paid attention to. How many companies produce feather meal? If we start producing, we are intentional about producing things like feather meal, bone meal, meat and bone meal, poultry meal, you'll find out that we will not be importing all those things because these are part of the reasons our cost of production is high.
All right.
Yes. So if we reduce the cost of our production, we can now start doing lots of things because we'll be able to produce a lot. We start exporting, we start producing other things. If we can produce enough, why can't we start exporting feather meal, bone meal? Why can't we start exporting the manure itself?
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Michael Nwejinya. It was quite an interesting conversation we've had with you here. But we have to let you go now because our time is fast spent.
Thank you, Martin.
All right.
And thank you, everyone, for listening.
All right. Now back to the studio. Yes, poultry farming is interesting, but there are certain challenges that are still faced by these poultry farmers. Let's go out on a very short break, and then we'll spotlight some innovation in the agricultural field.
How can agricultural innovation be taken to the next level? A highly efficient, reliable, and intelligent tool is the key. This is the DJI Agris T16. The Agris T16 was designed from the ground up. It features 6 rotors, an RTK dual redundancy system, and an avionic redundancy system. It has a payload of up to 16 liters, a spray rate of up to 4.8 liters per minute, and 8 sprinklers work perfectly with the downward airflow, resulting in an impressive spraying effect. It has a spray width of 6.5 meters, which can cover an area of 10 hectares per hour. The multi-aircraft control mode functions with the FPV camera as well as an HD video transmission system with a range of up to 3 kilometers, ensuring flight safety and boosting spraying efficiency. Thanks to the all-new modular design of the T16, both the spray tank and batteries are easily swappable, which significantly improves operational efficiency. Its core module has a rating of IP67, making it easy for maintenance. The foldable aircraft arms are convenient for storage and transportation. A new battery management system and a 2600-watt 4-channel intelligent battery charger increase charging cycles by 100%. When flying in complex farmland environments, the onboard DBF imaging radar empowers the aircraft to fly over varying terrain intelligently. When encountering an obstacle, the T16 detects the obstacle's orientation and the distance to it, automatically planning a flight path to circumvent the obstacle. Pilots can view the live video feed and adjusted route on their remote controller. After circumventing the obstacle, the T16 will automatically resume spraying. To target unevenly distributed fruit trees and varying heights, the T16 comes equipped with intelligent solutions. With the Phantom 4 RTK, users can perform centimeter-level scanning of the orchard. Then, DJI Terra conducts 3D mapping of the scanned area. With its AI technology, Terra can also generate 3D flight paths for more efficient planning. With the help of the RTK centimeter-level positioning system, the T16 is capable of flying precisely along flight paths, while accurately adjusting its spray rate according to tree distribution, reducing the pesticide dosage. The DJI Agris T16 delivers more efficient, reliable, and intelligent solutions, pushing the boundaries of crop protection. It lifts agricultural efficiency to new heights, opening more possibilities for the future of agriculture.
Drones in farming. Now, it is interesting. Personally, I would love to see how this is being applied practically. Remember, our guest for today talked about not just learning it in the classrooms and not just learning it theoretically. We need to practicalize it. Next time when you see me, I just might be on the farmland practicalizing the use of drones in agriculture. But as we've seen today, poultry farming is more than chicken and eggs. It is jobs, it is nutrition, and a vital pillar of Nigeria's economy. So the challenges are real, but so are the opportunities. And if you see everything that he has talked about today, the feed is, we have enormous opportunities right there. With the right policies, innovations, and partnerships, this sector can soar higher than ever before. But until next time, on the Green Line, my name is Martha Alu, and I'm reminding you that agriculture is not just our past, it is our future. See you next time.